We're often told that 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep is the gold standard for good health, and that anything less is a problem to be fixed. But is this really the way humans have always slept? When we look back through history, we discover a very different story about sleep, one that challenges our modern assumptions. For centuries, people didn't sleep in one solid block. Instead, they followed a pattern called segmented sleep, 2 distinct periods of rest, separated by a wakeful hour or so in the middle of the night, a time when the world was quiet and still. This wasn't considered insomnia or a problem. It was simply how people slept, a natural rhythm that fit their lives and the world around them. References to first sleep and second sleep appear everywhere, from Chaucer's tales to farmers' letters and even in medical texts of the time, showing just how common this pattern was. After a few hours of sleep, people would wake naturally, sometimes for an hour or more, to pray, reflect, talk quietly, or do light chores by candlelight before returning to bed for their second sleep. This routine was normal, not a sign of disorder or restlessness, but a part of daily life that brought its own sense of peace and community. The push for 8 hours of unbroken sleep is a modern invention, shaped by the arrival of artificial light, changing work hours, and the demands of industrial society. Understanding how our ancestors slept can help us question today's rigid sleep ideals, and perhaps ease our worries about waking up at night. Maybe waking at night isn't a flaw, but a natural echo of our past, a reminder that our bodies remember rhythms older than electricity and alarm clocks. Before electricity, darkness shaped daily life in profound ways, influencing not just what people did, but how they thought and felt after sunset. People finished work at dusk, gathered for a simple meal, and went to bed early, their routines dictated by the natural fading of light. The first sleep was deep and restorative, a natural response to the long, dark nights and the physical demands of daily labour. After 3 or 4 hours, a gentle, natural waking occurred. No frustration or anxiety, just a quiet acceptance as part of the nightly routine. During this interval, people prayed, reflected, shared intimacy or planned the next day, using the peaceful time for personal or family connection. Literature and records from all walks of life mention this wakeful interval, describing it as a normal and even cherished part of the night. Soldiers, farmers and monks all lived by this rhythm, regardless of their station or occupation. The darkness outside enforced stillness, making the wakeful hour a time for calm, introspection, and sometimes creativity or quiet conversation. Afterward, people returned to their second sleep, drifting off again until dawn signalled the start of a new day. This 2-part sleep was seen as a complete, unified rest, not broken or deficient, but natural and restorative for body and mind. The terms first sleep and second sleep were simply part of everyday language, woven into the fabric of pre-industrial life. The wakeful period between sleeps wasn't just for reflection, it served practical needs too. In a world without alarms or police, waking at night meant checking on family, livestock, and the home. Soldiers used this time for vigilance, making camps safer. In households, someone awake could tend the fire, check on children, or listen for danger. Even small chores, mending clothes, checking animals, fit this quiet hour. This natural wakefulness made communities more secure and resilient. The night's vulnerability was met with a built-in period of awareness. Pre-industrial sleep was far from comfortable. Most people slept on straw pallets or sacks on the floor, often infested with pests. Homes were cold and draughty, families huddled together for warmth, sacrificing privacy. Shared sleeping spaces meant constant disturbances, snoring, coughing, movement. Darkness brought real danger. Flimsy locks, no police, and the threat of fire or intruders. Deep, unbroken sleep was rare and risky. A lighter, segmented sleep was adaptive, allowing people to respond to threats or discomfort. People learned to rest amid noise, cold, and vulnerability. The segmented pattern fit the realities of their world. The move to consolidated sleep was a gradual process, shaped by the powerful forces of artificial lighting and the rise of industrialization. As cities grew and technology advanced, the very nature of nighttime began to change. Oil lamps, gas lights, and eventually electricity pushed bedtimes later and later, shrinking the long dark nights that once allowed for two distinct periods of sleep. Evening hours transformed into opportunities for work, entertainment and socializing, rather than simply a time for rest and quiet reflection. The Industrial Revolution imposed strict schedules. Factory whistles and time clocks replaced the natural rhythm of the sun, dictating when people should wake and sleep. There was no longer room for a leisurely, wakeful hour in the middle of the night. Sleep now had to fit the demands of the clock and the factory bell. By the 20th century, the old pattern of segmented sleep had faded from memory, replaced by a single unbroken stretch of rest. Medical experts began labeling nighttime waking as insomnia, turning what was once normal into something to be treated or fixed. The 8-hour block became the new standard, widely promoted as the only healthy way to sleep and reinforced by doctors, educators and public campaigns. Society's growing obsession with productivity and efficiency erased the memory of our natural, more flexible sleep rhythms, making them seem outdated or even unhealthy. The great sleep transition was complete, and our nights were forever changed by the glow of industry and light. Today, waking at night causes anxiety. We fear insomnia and lost productivity. But history shows this pattern is natural, not a malfunction. Our bodies may simply be echoing the segmented sleep of our ancestors. The real problem is our cultural expectation of unbroken sleep, not the waking itself. Understanding this can be liberating. Instead of fighting wakefulness, we can use the time for quiet reflection or relaxation. For many, this shift in perspective reduces anxiety and helps sleep return naturally. Severe insomnia is real, but for most, nighttime waking is just a normal human rhythm. Letting go of rigid ideals can bring peace to our nights. Segmented sleep isn't just history. It's a lesson in human adaptability. For millennia, our bodies thrived on flexible rhythms, not rigid schedules. The loss of this memory has fueled modern sleep anxiety. Rediscovering our natural patterns can help us respond to nighttime waking with calm, not frustration. Trusting our body's adaptability allows for a more relaxed, personalized approach to rest. Quiet, wakeful moments can be used for reflection, just as our ancestors did. Compassion for ourselves replaces the pressure for perfection. Our greatest strength is our ability to adapt, even in the quiet hours of the night.